in the military of that country. Ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Michael McCaul with me, sir. Michael, good morning to you. Thank you for coming back. And you were with Mike Pompeo before coming on our program. And what did you hear from him on the status of that government?
We had a private one-hour meeting just 30 minutes ago. Talked about the situation down there. I think the momentum is shifting towards a legitimate president of Venezuela, Guaido. We have the top 3 intelligence officials and the head of the Supreme Court basically take Lopez, who's the opposition leader, out of custody. So the idea that Maduro is going to a tarmac to fly out of Venezuela to Havana is extremely significant.
Is there a chance that that plane leaves today? Did Mike Pompeo answer that question?
I don't think so, because the Russians persuaded him to stay in Venezuela. We haven't seen the Russians in the Western Hemisphere this strongly since the Cuban Missile Crisis with military assets. They would love nothing more than to poke us in the eye. Excuse me, Bill, I have allergies today in D.C. But they would love nothing more than poke us in the eye and keep Maduro in power in Venezuela. So we have the Cuban security forces and the Russians propping up Maduro, fighting the forces of democracy and free and fair elections.
Heard from the president. Here's the tweet. If Cuban troops and militia do not immediately cease military and other operations for the purpose of causing death and destruction of the Constitution of Venezuela, a full and complete embargo, together with highest level sanctions, will be placed on the island of Cuba. Hopefully all Cuban soldiers will promptly and peacefully return to their island. Just need a quick answer on this. If that action is willing to go forward on Cuba, are we willing to take action on Moscow as well, sir?
Well, I think that would escalate things. I think the military option is on the table. It's the last option we want to exercise. We want to put more sanctions, more pressure. President also talked about an embargo on Venezuela. We have to do all these things first. We do have battle plans in place if necessary. But I think it's important the Lima group.
Sorry, we have battle plans in place for what?
Contingency plans in the event that's necessary. All options are on the table. However, I would argue that it's the Colombians and it's the Brazilians and Argentinians and the Lima group that need to lead this effort. It's the people of Venezuela that are standing up against this socialist dictator. This is what a socialist dictator does to his country. He has destroyed the most successful country in Latin America. And so we have to make sure we do everything we can to support the people of Venezuela. But, Bill, it's not going to be easy at the end of the day.
Sir, thank you for your time. Michael McCaul, I know you struggled through that. Smitty and I blame the pollen every day, so we feel for you, okay? Thank you for coming on. We'll see what the day brings us in Venezuela. Thank you, sir.